See, silence makes you nervous, doesn't it? You're wondering what the fuck is going on up here. Any of you want to sit on the other side of a negotiating table with me? I wouldn't advise it. I'm pretty good at this. I'm also the only person here today wearing a tie. This is not the uniform of a content strategist. This talk has more to do with clothing than I had really expected it to be. See, we're more comfortable when people look like middle managers. You know, get rid of the expensive suit, drop the tie, unbutton the shirt. If you're in Denmark, we untuck the shirt. See, this is kind of, you feel better about me now? Lose the cufflinks. I don't actually want to lose the cufflinks. I have a tendency to do that. Oh, there was one. See, I had promised to start this off with a striptease. Because this is kind of the way we look in our normal life. Right? Isn't this some more content strategist? I'm the chairman and CEO of 5 companies. I've been on many boards. I've been in this industry for an awful long time. And the clothes make a difference. See, during the course of the next couple of days, and of course yesterday, you heard a lot about why content strategy is absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's better than vitamin D, you know, and it cures cancer. It does everything. So this talk isn't actually going to talk about content strategy. I hope this doesn't disappoint you. This is my view of content strategy. I think of this as WMC. It's a weapon of mass communication. It is what gives companies today a strategic advantage that no other discipline can give them. Companies don't understand that. It's a different matter. So, we talk about content. There's the content. That's what this talk is supposed to be about. Here's our context. We have our information architecture. And there's also community. So far, so good. And you could say that Google is also part of the community. They're certainly working very hard to become a part of the community. The next 40 minutes, or actually less, 30 minutes, because we have a schedule to keep, I want to talk a little bit about the current business mentality. I'd like to talk about the current UX content strategy environment as I see it. And then, how are we going to get to the boardroom? And what are we actually going to do when we get there? Okay? We all good? Is anyone here also up in the cheap seats? Anybody wearing a tie? Didn't mean to insult anyone. No, but that's my business uniform. That's what I'm expected to wear. Not at these conferences, but often. So let's look at the current business mentality. We are in a depression. Now, I know that the economic signs and new building starts in the United States and whatever else they're printing in the newspapers say that the economy is improving. But it's doing so very, very slowly. This is not a recession. This is a depression. This is the worst economic crisis since the 1930s. And it has a very direct effect on what we do as content strategists. This is the business community. And the business community right now says survival is more important than success. It's sad because we're trying to give them a success and they say, no, I just want to hunker down in my trench and hope all of this will go away at one point, or that I can retire with a big golden parachute, before the shit hits the fan. No, we don't want to take any risks. This content strategy business, this is uncertain. We don't really know what this is about. This speaks to Margot's point about the definition. Do we need a broad definition? Do we need a narrow definition? I say broad, but I'll explain why later. I assume you all recognize this guy. Everybody wants to be like Apple. I have a fucking bank as a client that wants to be like Apple. What on earth are these people thinking? They won't even lend me any money. The problem with, there are lots of charismatic leaders, but it's very, very dangerous. Charisma is not something that we should admire, and yet we do. We say, if it was Steve Jobs, wonderful leader. No, read the Walter Isaacson book. He was a perfect son of a bitch. He stole other people's ideas and made them his own. On Friday, he'd say, that's a piece of shit, I don't want that. And then on Monday, he'd come in with this great idea that he'd stolen from one of his developers. I don't think that that's particularly good leadership. And I'm not a great admirer of Steve Jobs. And by the way, I go back to the Apple II. I owned a Lisa, for God's sakes. It's not as though I don't understand their products, okay? The problem is that often people don't recognize the false prophets. I happened across this photo. Let me just move this out of the way. And, all right, enough said. It can be very, very dangerous to follow these people. So that's the business mentality. They're scared to death. They're trying to preserve their jobs. They're not taking risks. They're listening to the wrong people. That's what we have to fight against. And then we have our own community. Here are some tools, just to change the subject. Now, if you were going to build a house, which of these tools would you not want? You can say something. You want all of them. Agreed. Agreed. You do need all of these and many more. But what we have right now in our community is that, every tool is saying, ooh, pick me, pick me. I'm a content strategist. I'm much better than the information architects. No, I'm in information architecture. I'm much better than the SEO people. This is a problem. It's like the old Arab proverb of just describing the elephant. You get hold of the trunk and say, ooh, it's like a snake, or ooh, you get the ear, it's like a fan, or you get the leg, ooh, it's like a tree. It's all true and none of it is true. So the broad definition is probably not such a bad thing. These are silos, and we have a tendency to become terribly compartmentalized in what we do. And this confuses the hell out of the business community. We've got everything under the sun. And of course, they're all acronyms, which makes it really easy. I'm not even sure I can remember all these. Content strategy, information architecture, service design, interaction design, graphic design, project or process or product management, knowledge management, document management, search engine optimization, social media, marketing, and information technology. Ha! I didn't think I was going to get through all this. This is what we're telling the business community. They're saying, holy shit, what am I supposed to do here? Why is the one silo better than the other? I see all of this as user experience. I don't think there is such a thing as a user experience designer, by the way. But I think we're all designing user experience. There's a very important difference there. We're all doing something tremendously important, but we cannot do it alone. And as Margot pointed out, there ain't no unicorns. Nobody can do everything equally well. And that's not a problem. It's only when we're trying to get to the boardroom and trying to make the business community to understand we can solve their problems. We can create profitability. We can improve their bottom line, because that's what they're interested in. In 1995, if you were doing websites, there was a webmaster. And by 1998, suddenly we had a visual designer and a copywriter added to the team. And then by 2000, oh my goodness, now we have a developer and an information architect. And where are we today? C'est moi. The business community that's why they fall for the Don Drapers of the world and the advertising agencies who don't know shit about what we do, but are very, very good at selling it. How many of you recognize Tuk crackers? Great. I happen to bring some. This is great fun. Now, this, by the way, is a crazy package. All right, so I have a couple of crackers here. I have one in each hand. Who would like to choose a hand? Which cracker would you like? Oh, we have a volunteer. Hello. What's your name?
Inga.
Hi, Inga. Yes, swipe me.
English, please.
English? You're not German?
No.
Where are you from?
Slovenia.
Slovenia?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't speak Slovenian. Dobar dan. So which hand do you want?
Left.
The left hand?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. See, because if you had chosen the other hand, you would have had the cracker. So let me ask you, what would you rather have? The crumbs on the table or the cracker? The cracker. Exactly. 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 We have wonderful things in our toolkit. And yet we're going out to the business community and we're saying, well, you don't need this. You need only content strategy. We're breaking things down into little bits, and that doesn't work. We've got to become cohesive, we've got to become inclusive, and we've got to play nice in the sandbox. And now I've made a mess on the stage. So, let me introduce you to the client. The client is and they know what they want. Isn't that true? The customer is always right, all that. Right, well, but we know what they need. And the thing is, that is the fatal disconnect. Because yes, the client doesn't know what they want. They think they do. It's our job to help them achieve that, and we're not doing that very successfully right now. What are we doing? Well, we've got all kinds of words. These are all the crumbs. These are all the crackers that we throw at them. They don't understand it. And they're looking for safety because these are people who are not willing to take risks right now. It's a fact of life. You don't have to like it, but that's the way it is. Right now, we're here, and we're in this gorgeous building, and it's all pretty, and it's got nice windows and a little balcony, and we're enjoying ourselves as content strategists. The problem is, that's the Trianon building, and actually that is not Photoshop. That's the way it looks. The money is up there. Oh, that was the wrong button. The money is up there. And that's where we need to be. So the rest of the next couple of days, we're going to be talking about how wonderful content strategy is. And I have no arguments with that. Okay? There are probably people out there, who know more about content strategy than I do. So good. I look forward to learning from you. But getting to the boardroom, that I know how to do. And that's why I'm here now. So, getting to the boardroom. What are we going to do? Well, first of all, there's a great Oscar Wilde quote. And he said, nowadays, everybody knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. And price is something that the business community does look at. They don't understand the value of our work yet. So this is something that we have to focus on. It's incredibly important. A lot of bullet points, I apologize. Actually, I don't know why this is not doing what it was supposed to do. But anyway, they're supposed to come in one at a time, and it was very sexy, and there were transitions. This is what happens when you wake up at like 4 in the morning because there's no more air in the hotel room, and you go out on the back steps and start wandering up and down and practicing your talk, and then somebody comes out and asks if you're schizophrenic. What other idiot walks up and down the back steps of their hotel at 4 in the morning mumbling to themselves? That's also not the time to do animations, so I apologize. So, there is always, let's say that we've moved beyond the marketing assistant, okay? And we're actually talking to a middle manager. There's always something we can do to make this person look good. This person wants a promotion. They want to rise in the corporate hierarchy. So what is the one thing that we can do that's measurable? You can't just make this up. You've got to be able to prove that your work had value. That's a key point. Make them look good. You've got to make sure that the manager doesn't feel threatened, that you know that you're working for them. You've got to figure out what this person has in terms of hidden agendas, and there are always hidden agendas. These are all soft skills, I know, but if you really want to make it to the boardroom, these are the kinds of things that you need to be thinking about. And then finally, don't talk about legacy decisions. Don't get suckered into all this, well, my predecessor said that we should do it this way, and maybe you were part of that project. Divorce yourself from any legacy decisions. Say, right, now you're here. It's your show. What do you want me to do? Now, whatever they tell you they want you to do, you can go off and do whatever you want anyway. It doesn't really matter. Because nobody understands content strategy. So there, easy peasy. But these are the basic tips. That's your Twitter moment. Instagram moment, Snapchat. This is the kind of stuff that you need to work on before you're going to get to that elevator. But you also have to make sure that your client is comfortable taking you upstairs. And I hate to talk about it, but it's part of life in this arena. Let's visit our doctor. Now, if we're going to talk to our doctor, does that look like a doctor? No? No? Who says it doesn't look like a doctor? Why doesn't it look like a doctor? It looks far more relaxed. So we'll make this guy a little more relaxed. Let's just drag this over a little bit. Is that relaxed enough for you? Okay, but in all honesty, which of these two gentlemen, actually it's the same man, would you go to if you were seeking medical advice? None of them. Oh, because you're a physician. All right, so yeah. Physician, heal thyself. The point is that the clothes are important. You know, I come in here all dressed up in a fancy suit, and I stand here for a couple of minutes and don't say a word, and you are all saying, what the hell is this about? I'm not quite sure I'm going to like this presentation. I made you nervous. Well, if you're going to go to the doctor, this guy is probably going to make you nervous. Okay? So there's a dress code. This is the Danish Newspaper from, I guess this is from Monday. This is the pink newspaper that has all the financial news. I went through it and I looked at pictures. And I counted them. And let me just show you some of them. These are all really boring men wearing suits and ties. Excuse me? They're robots. No, there are only 2 women in this entire magazine, which is appalling. There were only 2 men who were not wearing ties. One was a farmer. You can sort of excuse. No, anybody wants to check, here's the newspaper. Oh, sorry. I just wrecked his sunglasses. They're on the floor there. The only people who don't wear ties in this are the people who are being profiled, and the only reason I know that is because that's part of the design code, because I was profiled a couple of months ago. In terms of women, there is our foreign minister, Margrethe Vestager. And she looks the role. So, here we are. That looks like a content strategist. Looks like a lot of the people I know. But the people in the boardroom have a tendency to look rather more like her. There's an attitude difference. The clothing is slightly different, but it's enough that makes Sheryl Sandberg one of the most powerful women in the world. And this woman, no matter how talented she may be, is probably not going to be getting up to the boardroom in her geek t-shirt. These are the kinds of things that people look at. They look at your watch. They look at your shoes. They look at your clothing. For God's sakes, buy a shirt that fits. These things make such an incredible difference. That same Danish newspaper, Børsen, yesterday said that social workers who are trying to get jobs for the unemployed are more likely to send a candidate to a good job interview if the candidate washed their hair before they came to the meeting. You don't have to like this, but that's the way of the world. Look good, smell good. Act like somebody who belongs in the boardroom. You're all saying, this is content strategy formula. I don't get this at all. So, dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. That's really the message. If you want to get into the boardroom, I will make you proud of me. This is what you're telling your client. This is what you're telling the middle manager. I will help further your career because you found me. And I'm going to make you famous within this organization. That's invariably where it ends. So, okay. Let's assume that we've finally gotten that meeting and we get to go to the boardroom. Let me get rid of this thing. Anybody notice anything interesting about this picture? It's a fairly typical boardroom. What is missing? What? A computer. a projector, and a screen, and a computer. You know what? The only people who give presentations in a boardroom are the people who are going to go in for 15 minutes and go out again, and you're going to forget them. If you get invited to the boardroom, do not bring a PowerPoint. Reverse content strategy. Napoleon said, there are only two levers with which you can set a man in motion: fear and self-interest. And in fact, the community is ripe for what we have to offer because they are scared to death and there is a hell of a lot of self-interest going on. So play on that. Play on that. Here are a couple of tips. First of all, there's a phrase in English, it's all Greek to me. Let's just edit that a little bit. It's all geek to me. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, es hört jeder doch nur, was versteht. And for all the Slovenians, he hears only that which he understands. And yet, what are we throwing at these people? Yeah, there we go. So, my message, don't speak geek. I have no clue. It's a real sign. It's not photoshopped. One of the problems that I've experienced a lot is that, people forget that they're supposed to be solving problems, not creating them. And so, we come in at an important meeting and we start telling everybody why everything they've done is wrong, why it's going to cost 5 times as much as they had budgeted, and why basically, the world will not last until Tuesday if you don't hire them. These are the kinds of things that get you thrown out. So don't create problems. Yes, there are problems. We know this, okay? But sometimes it's better to just keep your fucking mouth shut. All right? Don't attack other disciplines. They're all important. You got to think beyond yourself. Think what's good for your client, but try and get them there in a nice way. This is the Harvard Business Review from June, which was 2 days ago. This may still be on the magazine stands. Women, if you aspire to a CEO position, buy this. Find it someplace. And men, you'd do well to read this one too. The article to which I refer is this one, Women, Find Your Voice. And if we just turn the page, this is actually the bit that I want. This is the way men have a tendency to see women at meetings, and this is the way women react to meetings. There is a difference between the sexes. Yeah, take a picture, please. This is very important stuff, and I don't mean this to be sexist in any way, but there is a difference between men and women. God bless that. But we need to figure out how to play our cards a little better than we do. Germaine Greer, who is credited with starting the sexual revolution in the United States, and no, I didn't just download these images from Amazon. She says something very important. The prevailing criticism of the female soul can best be explained by the male battle to repress certain faculties in their own mental functioning. Well, that's a kudo to you women, because basically she's saying that men are full of shit. And I hate to say this, but in many respects they are. When they get to the boardroom, something happens. Maybe that tie cuts off all the oxygen to the head. I don't know. But boardrooms are very, very strange environments. So here are 10 things to remember. I'm almost done, but that's good because I'm almost out of time. First of all, you've got to look like you belong there. I apologize for talking so much about suits and ties, but this is critical. Don't let gender get in the way. Let me tell you, one of the best project managers I ever knew was this incredibly beautiful blonde. She could have been a Playboy model. And she knew she looked good and wore very tight, revealing clothes, lots of cleavage, whatever. And she got fired because her best client called her boss and said, "Don't bring this woman to any more meetings because I'm tired of staring at her tits." I know somebody else, a man, an extremely, extremely good strategist who did not get a C-level position, not because he wasn't talented, but because he couldn't figure out how to clean his fingernails. This stuff makes a difference. You've got to show confidence and leadership ability. But that said, take charge of a situation in a nice way, because they're all scared. They're looking to you for guidance. So you're already in a fantastic position. They're worried. They're looking to you and hoping that you're going to have the magic UX pixie dust that you can sprinkle on their crappy product and make it good. Figure out who it is in that board who gets it, and become their protege. In the same way that middle manager became your friend because you made him or her look good through that quick win. Become a protege. This is not a bad thing. It will get you back to more meetings in that boardroom. Never argue with the CEO or chairman. The CEO or chairman also has a family, and the family has a lot to say, particularly in things like website design. If they want kittens on the front page, let them have kittens on the front page. Concentrate on your forms design. Concentrate on some of the other stuff that really does make a difference. The truth is, nobody's going to even go to the front page, home page, if the site is designed well. They're going to come in through organic search directly to the page where you have optimized their content and have done it absolutely brilliantly, and everybody will be happy. The better a home page is designed, the less time people spend on it. I have a client who's furious at me because their average time on the home page was something like 12 seconds, and after our redesign, it went down to 7 seconds. And so, this is terrible. I said, no, it isn't. People are finding what they're looking for. It's a tough sell. But that's our industry. Don't use business terms you don't understand. If you're going to talk about return on investment, you better the hell know that this is a backward-looking metric. This is not something you can use to predict the future. If you say, well, we predict the ROI of this project will be blah, 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 the chief financial officer is going to throw you out on your ear. You can only calculate ROI after you have the numbers. So if you're going to use business terms, make sure you understand them. This is a really good way to get thrown out. Try not to make content strategy sound complicated. Pick one of Margot's many definitions. They were all great. They're all different. Pick the one that you think fits best. Make it look easy. And finally, walk them through a well-proven process, okay? And show them the money, because ultimately that's what it's about. And we have a Kodak moment. So, basically, play nice, take control, and be adult about what you're doing. Those are my main takeaways. And finally, our new mantra, sell crackers and not crumbs. Danke vielmals. Okay.